Welcome back, crazy friends. How are you doing today? Good. I don't know about you, but I am cooking up a storm in my kitchen, like because I'm bored. I don't know, maybe. Crazy friends, today we're gonna do a battle of 3 different chocolate chip cookie recipes, 2 of which I found on the internet and I wasn't very pleased with. So of course I had to come up with my own recipe, and I gave my husband a blind taste test and he chose mine. So stay tuned, I'll show you how to make all 3 of them. So here are the cookies. These are the fat for weight loss cookies. These are from Folsom Yum. And then this was my recipe right here. I love chocolate chip cookies. And when I wasn't keto, I had the best recipe ever. And it's just hard when you're keto to find a fabulous recipe. To me, texture is huge. And high almond flour content in a cookie has that kind of gritty texture to it, which I don't care for. And then trying to find the sugar substitute that doesn't have the cooling effect. Both of the recipes that I used off of the internet called for erythritol. You know I'm not a huge fan. My sugar substitute of choice is definitely monk fruit. And one interesting thing is both of those other recipes also didn't have any type of brown sugar in them. And so I had to add that as well because I think that richness of brown sugar in a cookie makes a big difference. So stay tuned and come cook with me. Let's enjoy some cookies together. I am going to be making a keto chocolate chip cookie. I'm going to be making 2 recipes that I found on the internet, and of course I had to make my own because I wasn't happy with the other 2. And let's get cooking. And this one is from, it got really good reviews, and it is from fatforweightloss.com. So I am not going to give you all of the ingredients because I'm going to put the link to go to their website to get this recipe so they get the credit. But I just wanted, I normally do not use Swerve, but it's 100% erythritol, and that's what this recipe said you must use. So I'm going to follow their recipe, which is really hard for me, and we will be making chocolate chip cookies, and we will see how they turn out. So I have the erythritol in there. Then they said you had to put melted butter. And then we're going to mix this together. Then it says to add vanilla and egg, so I'm going to put in the vanilla. And it says exactly to only mix for 15 seconds. So we're going to count this down.
Now they shout to me and you to write our story. Wanna shape the new.
That was 15 seconds. I probably would have mixed it a little bit more because I still see some egg yolk, but we're gonna follow the directions to a T. Then I'm gonna be adding the baking powder, the xanthan gum, salt, and the almond flour. So I have that pre-measured. I also have the almond flour pre-measured, so I'm going to pour that in. And we're going to beat this until it's well combined.
Do you wanna?
Okay, it said to knead in the chocolate chips, but I know I said I was going to follow it to a T, but I just can't. So I'm just going to pour those in and just incorporate them a little bit with the KitchenAid. And bam, they're done. And I didn't have to knead them, and I didn't have to sit there and touch the dough. So I didn't follow the recipe to a T. It's really hard for me. All right, so now it says that this dough makes 12 cookies. We will see. I will try to make 12 cookies. Yeah, that's probably good. All right, and then we'll put them on a baking sheet and bake them in the oven at 355 for 10 minutes. Okay, it didn't say use parchment paper, so we are not going to use parchment paper.
Do you wanna come along with me? Come along with me.
When I was using a cookie scoop, it made 3 extras, 15 instead of 12. We're gonna put them in the oven. It is ready to take out, and it said, those didn't flatten like they were supposed to. So in the recipe it said to allow to cool before serving. So I'm gonna pull these off, put them on a cooling rack, and let them cool. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and thank you. You guys are the best. And you know that already though, but. This recipe is from Folsom Yum, and it calls for butter. And then it says to use a half cup of allulose for the sweetener, but I don't have that, and it says that erythritol will work fine. Now, I might as well use the erythritol that I bought because I'm not a huge fan of it. So I'm going to be putting a half a cup of that in. Alright, so half a cup of that. And it says to beat it together until it's fluffy and light in color. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so it's light in color. I'm going to get it off the sides. I've already added the vanilla and the egg down there. And we're supposed to mix this together. Then we're supposed to add a half a cup of almond flour in increments until we get to the 2.5 cups of almond flour. So I'm gonna do that.
You can take us out.
So that looks pretty good. Then I'm supposed to sprinkle the xanthan gum over the cookie dough. So I better get this off the paddle. We have a half a teaspoon. I'm just sprinkling it over the batter. And we're supposed to mix that in. And then we're supposed to add our chocolate chips. I will add those. There we go. And we're mixing that together. Perfect. Now this recipe says that it comes to 20 cookies and use a medium cookie scoop. And so we will see how this goes. Okay, this recipe says that we need to use parchment paper. And then it also, very interesting, it says to flatten them before you bake them because they will not spread very much. So, and the other recipe said that they would spread, so we shall see. This makes, like I said, 20 cookies versus the other one that was supposed to make 12, but I actually made 15 out of it. We will see how many we get. I'm going to bake these and then I will see how they are. This recipe said that it would make 20 and I got 16 out of it. So not bad. And I flattened them out like it said we could because they don't spread very much. And we're supposed to bake these for 12 minutes until the edges are golden. So we will pull these out. They also said to allow to cool completely in the pan before handling. Our second batch of cookies is ready to come out. They're golden. They didn't spread very much at all. Alright, so we're gonna let these cool off and then I will taste test both of these and let you know what I think. And then of course, I'm gonna have to come up with my own recipe if I don't like either of these. Okay, so you know me by now and I have to come up with my own recipe. I'm just not happy with how those cookies turned out. Yes, they are good. yes, you can serve them to guests, but they could be better. So let's try for something better. All right, let's make some chocolate chip cookies with almond flour as well as coconut flour. Start with a half a cup of butter, softened. And then I'm going to be putting in a half a cup of monk fruit sweetener. This is my favorite sugar-free substitute. And then the thing that they were missing in their cookies was brown sugar. And this is a monk fruit brown sugar. And it's a 1/4 cup. And I'm going to combine these and make it nice and fluffy. Creamed the sugar and, or the sugar substitute and the brown sugar substitute with the butter. And I'm going to add 2 eggs. You know, the one thing I didn't like about those recipes is they're kind of gritty with the almond flour, and the structure of them was not that great. They were kind of crumbly, so I'm going to add 2 eggs. Both of those recipes called for 1. So I'm going to see if we can get some more structure with adding 2 eggs. I'll just mix those together. Then I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Then I'm going to add in 3/4 cup almond flour. Add in a half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. And I also need a half a teaspoon baking powder. And then I'm going to put in a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to be adding coconut flour to this recipe because I just don't like that gritty texture from almond flour. And I know that coconut flour absorbs moisture, and so that's another reason why I added an extra egg to give it some moisture. So I'm going to be using this Red Mill organic coconut flour. I'm going to put in a half a cup. And we're going to mix this all together. And then we're going to add our chocolate chips and bake them for, we'll do 12 minutes. Okay, so here's my recipe. It also made 16 cookies, and I flattened out the majority of them, but I'm going to leave 3 just scooped and put on the parchment paper, and we will see if they spread at all. They have more egg in them. They have coconut flour though, so we will see how they turn out. I can't wait. Hopefully these are better than the ones that I had already tried. Okay, so these are done.
I'm gonna let my hair down. I'm gonna take control.
They didn't flatten very much at all, so I'm glad I flattened those ones. So we're gonna let these cool, and then we'll give them a taste and see which ones we liked better now that I have all these keto cookies and I'm the only one in the house. I'm gonna have to share. Oh yes, I'm gonna have to share. Oh, I'm so sick of cookies now. I ate way too many. I don't give specific ingredients for the 2 that I found on the internet. They got rave reviews. One is from Fat for Weight Loss, and my husband loved those ones as well. And then another one was Folsom Yum, and he didn't care for them. Those will all be linked in the description box below, but I do definitely want to give credit to those 2 websites. So I'll just supply the link for you to go there and check out their recipes.